Hey guys, what's up? It's Micah, and we're on day 13 of the Bible Challenge, and I hope y'all are staying strong and staying faithful to the challenge here. We are 2/3 of the way, so we got another week, and of course the plot is getting really thick now. A lot of good stuff going on, a lot of really meaty things. Yeah, the birds are joining me for our Bible challenge. That's good. It's nice to be outside on a day like today. Man, I love this next part here. This first part is talking about Jesus washing the disciples' feet, and there's a couple of things I want to draw out from that. You know, first of all, I mean, like, why are they washing feet? And that would be the first question. I mean, certainly there's other people that could have washed the feet, the servants and things like that would have been at that time to do that. So why is Jesus washing his disciples' feet? Now, I've been working all day making a chicken coop, and I did not wear these shoes, but I wanted to wear them to illustrate it. I call these my pickle shoes. Now, these are my pickle shoes because it doesn't matter if I've been working or not, but after a while these things don't breathe or whatever, and my feet start smelling like pickles. So you know, before I get dirty, my feet are stanky, and these guys walked everywhere, so their feet were dusty, dirty, and kind of the tradition was to get your feet washed or wash your own feet before you go into the house. So, but Jesus, I love what he says. He said he took off his outer garments, taking a towel, he tied it around his waist. He pours water into the basin and washes his disciples' feet. And what I love about that picture is the first thing he does is he takes off his outer garments. Now, our outer garments kind of represent kind of our authority. For Jesus, that would have been, you know, kind of who he was. And so he's basically laying aside his authority, his right to be in charge. And he's saying, you know what, I'm going to humble myself to the position of a servant, which he asks us to do every day. Put ourselves as servants and serve those who are less fortunate or deserve it less or whatever, just putting your authority aside. And that's the challenge for all of us. We do this occasionally at San Lee. We'll do foot washings in the community and things like that. And there's nothing more humble, I don't think, than washing someone else's feet. I mean, those are some people more than others, but especially if you have pickle feet like me sometimes. So just humbling yourself to do that, and what a great picture to do for other people. And Peter even says, you know, Jesus, you're not going to do that for me. You're not going to, you know, whatever. And Jesus says, hey, if you don't let me do this, you can't have a part with me. And I want to just kind of, you know, what's a foot washing have to do with anything? And it's not the actual foot washing that Jesus is talking about. He's saying, if you don't allow me to serve you, if you don't accept my humility towards you, you can't have a part of what I'm doing. So in other words, if you don't accept the way I serve you at the cross, and just a few days later, then you can't have a part with me. And that's a message for us too, that we all have to accept Jesus' service towards us, and then we can have a part with him. Man, what a lot of wild stuff going on here. A little later, he says talking about Judas betraying him, and it says, hey, you know, the bread and the wine, whoever I give that to is going to betray me. Well, isn't it obvious at that point what's going on? But for whatever reason, it's not. And the thing that was really struck me as odd, verse 27 says, after he had taken that morsel, Satan entered into him. And that just blows my mind that, you know, there's a point where, you know, Satan has the potential to take over us. And that's scary sometimes, but I think the idea that, you know, we need to stay in prayer, we need to stay connected with other believers, because, you know, it says that the devil is like a roaring lion, prowling lion looking for someone he may devour. In other words, he's looking to take control of our lives. And so we have to be on guard because he's ready to enter and start using us for his purpose rather than God's purpose. So just being protective of that, staying in prayer, staying close to the Word, like this Bible challenge is all about. So a lot of good stuff. And the last thing I want to draw out from this as I close here, you know, anytime it's like we're getting up to Jesus' last words, and you know, whoever it is, their last words are probably the most important things that they'll ever say. And so this is his new commandment here. And he says, where I'm going, you cannot come. A new commandment I give to you, and this is verse 34, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are to love one another. And by this, all will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. And so your best testimony you can give is just to love other people. Jesus doesn't make it super complicated here. You don't have to become a missionary and do all this stuff. You don't have to wear an official title, become a pastor, and do all this stuff. He just says simply, you ought to love one another in the same way that Jesus loved. And just a few verses before, he did that by setting his authority, his position aside, and loved us by washing the disciples' feet, and we ought to do the same for others. So I hope this encourages you. It certainly challenges me. I hope you're staying strong in your Bible challenge. For this week's challenge, or for today's challenge, I would like you to maybe post something about what's an opportunity you might have to serve someone that's less fortunate or less privileged, something you can do to set aside your authority. We're not trying to brag here, but we're trying to challenge each other. The Bible says, spur one another on to good works. And so what are some things that you could be doing that might challenge us to do something? Not something you've done, we don't want to brag, but something you could do to step it up. So how could you serve someone else and lay aside your authority and position? So God bless you guys. I'll see you bright and early for church tomorrow. I love you, and stay strong on the Bible Challenge. Peace.